it is so wonderful to see you. I hope that you're having an amazing day. I am. I got the reprieve I needed, and I just want to give you a very heartfelt thank you for sticking it out with me. I know it has been a hot minute. I owe you quite a few get ready with me's, but the truth of the matter is life has been bananas lately. I have so many things vying for my time and my focus and my energy that I need a moment to myself. And today that finally happened. Like, my class got canceled tonight, which divine intervention, seriously. I mean, it needed to happen because this class has been so stressful. It is taking every ounce of free time that I have. So like I said, I just thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for sticking it out with me. I was planning to sit down and film this Pan That Palette update tomorrow, but as soon as I got the text about school being canceled, I was like, yes, yes. So here we are. That being said, since I have been so stretched for my time lately, I have really changed my focus on what I am panning in terms of eyeshadow. Now, as far as the Back to MAC Pan That Palette goes, I'm working on 2 little configurations of MAC shadows, and I pulled in a couple of things because honestly, I really haven't had a lot of time to just do my makeup. I'm certainly not, you know, I don't have the time to watch YouTube content like I was before, and so keeping up with the new releases, I'm a little bit behind on what's going on. However, that being said, I've gone through with some of the Pantone. Let's see if I can articulate my words today. But I've gone through with some of the Pantone 2020 colors for spring and summer. I've pulled out some things from my collection to kind of keep, you know, my makeup collection rolling and shopping my stash and trying to stay within what I have. And then, anyways, we're here for Pan That Palette. So, in terms of my makeup, I have really gone, I guess the operative word here is I've gone really basic with my makeup because I'm going straight from work to getting my kids to going to work out to class and then studying. And so there's not a lot of opportunity for fun in the makeup. You know what I mean? And so, okay, we'll start off with this first configuration. So I have a 6-pan palette from MAC that I've pulled out some various shades, and it's going to change, or it has changed a little bit from what I featured in here for January. So let's talk about where I had it. When I started off the year, I was really hell-bent on wearing a very warm red smoky eye. And I was all about it. I have a pair of glasses I love to wear with it. And so I have the shade I'm into it, which is like a deep burgundy. It's kind of like All-Star from the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette. I had a warm peach in the bottom. I have this soft brown over here. And I also had a really vibrant blue. Now, I quit wearing that look because first off, I got this new nose stud. It's a little diamond, and it just clashed horribly with that look. It was too much for the eye to focus on with a really warm eye and this white situation kind of sitting on my nose, and so I was like, all right, we need to tone it down, scale it back a little bit, kind of go and evolve my makeup to something that is a little bit more subtle, so that way the focus can be with my nose studs. So I changed my glasses back up. I went through and pulled out these frames because they have little diamond accents on them. I have these little studs that I purchased off QVC. They're called the Aurora Borealis studs. They have just the slightest bit of pink and then tones of definitely the clear diamond kind of vibe, and then little green and little blue accents. So they're very versatile. I'll go on and link them in the description box below. But that being said, it really made me zero in on my makeup. So what I have going here for progress, the first shade that I'm going to be able to finish is Gold Bit. It's a beautiful peachy beige highlighting shade. I use this in my inner corner. I use it on my brow bone. I also use it as a face highlight. It is stunning. And so it was very, very easy for me to blend in the nose stud and the earrings and the glasses by just going through and using this as a highlight. And then I would go over here with soft brown. Now, I've been working on this shade since, I want to say I started working on this in December on a daily basis. You can tell I have a little bit of a dip in it, but it's definitely going to be with me for the majority of the year. MAC matte shadows are very challenging to hit pan in. And so basically, when I decided to step away from the warm red look, I would go through and use soft brown all in my crease. I would dust it over my eyelid area. I would deepen it up with a darker brown that I'll show you in just a second, and that would literally be my eyeshadow look. And then I'd go through with a little bit of gold bit, and I loved that look. I kind of stepped back into wearing a little bit more red eyeshadow lately because I found a look that I like that actually kind of wears well. Because to show you where I'm coming from, like I said, I'm going straight from doing all my activities during the day. I'm extremely busy, and then I'm going straight to working out. And when I work out, I have a taekwondo uniform, and it is like bold white. And so whenever I would have that deep warm red look with blue eyeshadow on my lower lash line, if I didn't have the time to wash off my makeup before I would go to taekwondo, I would literally have a hot mess dripping down my face, and then it would stain my uniform, and that is not cute on anybody. It was awful. Awful. So I walked away from it and went to that like softer all matte vibe. This look wears pretty well if I don't have the opportunity to wash off my makeup, so I don't have to worry quite as much. But definitely I did not want any type of blue eyeshadow on my lower lash line because it is just not okay. So it definitely made me change my goals a little bit. And then also too, I wanted to step back into wearing this Max Coral right here. It's a really, really light, kind of an orangey vibe. It doesn't have a whole lot of pigmentation on my eyes anymore because it is an older shadow. And so I decided to go back in. This is kind of what coral looks like. I wanted to kind of revisit a coral shade that I loved, that I wore often last year, and that is to mix an orange shadow with a kind of a bubblegummy pink. And so I pulled out the shade Love is Love. This comes from the Too Faced Clover palette. I really love mixing this with orange. And because I've already hit pan, it's just further incentive for me to kind of work on it. But when I pair these two together, here's the swatch of it together. It's like the perfect blending out shade for my crease. And then it's giving me an option to kind of make some more progress on another MAC shadow for my collection. So when I get the Get Ready With Me's posted, you will be able to see that. The problem is that, you know, it takes so much time to film them and edit them and upload them. And the reality is I haven't had that kind of time to sit down and be able to do that. So I'm aware I owe you those Get Ready With Me's. I promise they're coming. It's just I need a couple of weeks break. That's really what it boils down to. So kind of looking ahead at what's going on in the palette, I swapped out those shades that I just stopped using for a while, and because we've got, you know, St. Patrick's Day coming up with March, I thought some green looks would be fun. So I have two MAC shadows. This one is in Sumptuous Olive, and I think this is Humid, if I'm not mistaken. If I try to dig out the pan right now, I'm going to end up, you know, jabbing the edge with my fingernails. So, but I think that's Humid, and I know this is Sumptuous Olive, so I thought that would be fun to come up with a St. Patrick's Day look. And then this shade over here is what I plan to move into once I finish Gold Bit in, I don't know, a couple weeks. And this is in Vex. It's just a beautiful kind of a beigey pink. It's a little bit less peachy toned than the Gold Bit shade, but I feel like I can still get a lot of the same vibe that I had before. Can you see that, or is it not gonna focus well enough? MAC shadows, that's the thing. It's a little bit disappointing in how they swatch, but man, when you put them on the eyes, they are just stunning. Now, I'm really happy to show you the progress in this next palette because I've been working very diligently on my MAC Semi Sweet x9, and I have hit pan in a few shades in this. So last time when I showed it to you, it was a little bit challenging. The focus was definitely all over the place. I apologize. Hopefully today's gonna be a little bit better. But this is the current status of where I am with the Semi Sweet x9. I'm super proud of myself for this. It's definitely given me motivation to work a little bit more with this palette. It's one of the reasons I switched back to a red eyeshadow because when I put away the I'm Into It, I have this other shade over here. It's called Everyone's Darling. It's literally the same shade as I'm Into It, or All Star from the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette. I love wearing it in my crease, and I deepen it up a little bit. So I figure I'm going to go on and try to hit pan in this, and then I'll reevaluate kind of the shadows that I'm using from there. So let's kind of talk about what I'm doing. This grayish taupe down here, I've been going through on a daily basis, and I'm using this in my eyebrows. I really, really enjoy that cooler toned vibe. And also with my stiff eyeshadow brush, it's definitely helping me to hit pan, so bonus. I've also been going through with this matte espresso brown in the middle. I use this to deepen up my outer corner. I've used it as a liner. I've used it to basically go through if I want a lower lash line in a deep espresso brown. If I have a couple of like sparse lines in my hairline, I'll go through with a little bit and dust to make my part a little bit less visible. It's been a really, really nice, versatile shade. I really enjoy that. But I decided even though it can look a little bit more harsh, I have decided to kind of take a step back from using this as a liner, and basically I go through every day and use this as an outer corner shade. I am back to using a matte black as an upper lash line liner, which I really enjoy. So hopefully I will hit pan in the next couple of months in this shade. And then this mid-tone brown in here is what I was talking about using when I did that all matte, very simple look for the beginning part of January with soft brown. It is deep enough that you can definitely see the contrast against soft brown. It's not too dark, but at the same time, it's definitely enough to give some dimension to your eyeshadow look. And if you have a warmer toned hair color, this would be a great shade to use in your eyebrows or to use on your hairline and whatnot. So I'm really, really enjoying that aspect of this palette. And definitely, I could see myself for sure repurchasing this down the road if I ever get to the point that I use up a ton of the darker shades. The lighter shades I haven't been as impressed with because frankly there's just not a lot going on there. I mean, I'm going to use this mustardy brown when I want to go through and pan a shadow from Kaleidoscope. Speaking of which, let me show you. So one of the vibes that I've really been enjoying lately to keep me involved with the red tone of this palette is I have this shimmery shadow from Cleonda Cosmetics called Prophecy. You can find this in a lot of different palettes. It may not be as metallic as this shade, but definitely I was watching Jen Love's review on one of the Jaclyn Hill shades this morning from the 2017 version of her palette. It is very similar to this kind of metallic-y rose gold. I've really been loving using this on my lid, and then I go through with that red shade in my crease, and then I deepen it up with the espresso brown, and I go through with that combination of the orange and the bubblegum pink in my transition area, and the gold bit is my highlight. I absolutely love that combination, and thankfully it wears pretty well as I sweat when I go to work out. So that's something that is super important to me because like I said, I don't always have the time to remove my makeup before I go in there. The other thing that's been kind of dictating my makeup is I am determined to see what I can do with my Clinique Pop blush in the shade Cola Pop. I've had this for years. It is one of my very favorite blushes. If you've been following me for any length of time, you know that I worked very hard on panning this in the past. And I am finally at the point that I have hit some pan. And so the determination is there for me. I want to go on and wear this for about another month and see if I can expand that pan, and then I will evaluate from there on whether or not I want to stick with this or go with a more spring tone, kind of a lighter vibe blush, and then change up my eye look. So it's really like I'm looking at makeup as kind of the panner brain is taking over. I'm looking at it as more functional versus, you know, jumping around my collection and trying a bunch of different looks and things like that. But I wanted to give myself the option because pastels are going to be a thing for spring. And so I put a picture of this up on my Instagram, but I have created a palette that basically reflects some of the tones we're going to see from Pantone 2020 colors, pops of color, things that we're going to see in palettes. So if you're interested, go on to my Instagram. I went on and linked a picture of the Pantone colors for 2020. These are some of the vibes that I gathered from palettes that I own. I've got some Juvia's Place shadows in here. I also have some Lorac shadows, like this kind of a light periwinkle blue is going to be a color that's popular for spring and summer. The bubblegummy pink I mix in with orange to do a more coral vibe. Peaches, teals, purples, oranges, those are definitely going to be in. Even this fiery kind of red color down here, it's not something that I would wear a ton of. But I thought that would be fun as kind of a poppy colored blush or to mix in as an accent color and an eye look. So I highly suggest you go through some of your shades if you're wanting to shop your stash and find some things that are going to be super on trend so that you can see if you would like combinations of different things before you just go out and buy some more stuff. And then I've had this palette in my collection for a while. I bought it, I guess, last year, maybe the year before. But it's a palette from Carity Cosmetics. It's called the Unicorn Dreams. And I didn't want to spend a whole lot of money on it, but I knew that pastels were going to be kind of a thing. And so I picked it up then because pastels are not something I typically reach for. But these shadows in here definitely are reflecting some of the trends that we're going to be seeing for 2020. And so I wanted to see if I could incorporate some of these along with the MAC shadows that I own and just get some use out of some of the shades, like this cornflower periwinkle blue over here called Fairy Tale. It's not something that I would wear a ton of, but it's super pretty. Or this shade over here called, well, let's go with Gallop. Gallop's another one that could be pretty for St. Patrick's Day, or even Sky. It's kind of a matte aqua color, and Carity Cosmetics is a great way to do this at a very affordable price point. So I thought I would share that with you because, what was it? I was kind of just glancing through Instagram, and was it Huda Beauty? Correct me if I'm wrong. She's coming out with a small kind of spring themed collection 9-pan palette that has mints and taupes and some golds and browns. So this could be a fun way to dupe some of those vibes along with neutrals that you have at home. That's kind of where I started getting the inspiration. And then I saw another photo, I guess it was ColourPop in the Sailor Moon collection. I haven't been watching a whole lot of videos on this stuff, so I'm not really ahead on what's going on. But when I saw some pictures of these sorts of things, I was like, all right, let's see what I can do with what I have. So just to kind of give you an idea, this is a great place to start if you don't have a lot of pastels in your collection, but you don't want to spend a ton of money on them. And then also to shopping your stash to get some vibes in here. So that's where I am right now. I'm planning on bringing those in as pops of color. I'm going to continue working on these two palettes for the next month just to see what I can do. I definitely plan on finishing Gold Bit before we get into March. Well, no, it probably will be early March since I do have that little bit of a ring. I'm hoping that I hit pan in soft brown by the end of March. It may take me a little bit longer than that because those pans are really deep, but we're going to see what I can do. And then, like I said, I'm going to just keep steadily working on this semi-sweet ×9, and then I'll, swap in some more MAC shades as I get to it. Because the reason I wanted to kind of go in with this palette is because the pans are smaller, but I also have these shades in other MAC renditions. Like I have this gray shade in the MAC, in the Flesh palette. I've got this espresso brown in the MAC Warm Neutrals palette. Of course, a matte black you can find in most palettes. I know I have another MAC shadow like that. And then I do have a backup of soft browns. So if I hit pan in that one, I'm definitely set. And I already have them into it if I finish this shadow. So I thought this would be a kind of a fun way to ease into at least having some success in finishing MAC shadows in case they do take me months and months to make progress in. So that about wraps it up. Like I said, I genuinely I'm very thankful that you are here with me, and I hope that you're having a lot of fun shopping your stash, that you're getting creative with your makeup. I'm really, even though my makeup has been very utilitarian lately, I'm enjoying the process of starting to incorporate some more colors again. I've really enjoyed wearing neutrals. I've forgotten how much I miss them. After panning colorful eyeshadow for quite a while, I really needed to refocus and fall in love with neutral shadows and fall in love with some matte neutral shadows. I haven't worn a matte, all matte neutral look in a very, very long time, and that's been something that I've very deeply enjoyed for the past couple of weeks. So it's been kind of fun to evolve and see what's ahead for makeup that I'm going to be reaching for. You know, how my makeup is continuing to change and how my collection is changing. I feel comfortable. I'm at the point where I think I'm finally ready to film a palette collection and film the makeup collection, because I've gotten it down to where I'm very comfortable with what I have. So hopefully I'll have some time to get those things filmed fairly soon so that you're not waiting forever and ever and ever, amen. But it is what it is right now. So take care. And until next time, I hope that you have a fabulous day. I look forward to catching up with you very, very soon. Adios.